let me show you something on the screen here, which is not quite in your notes. Let me show you a declarer play situation. And you'll see what this has to do in a moment with defense. But let me show you a very common situation for a declarer. Okay, you've all been there, okay? You're, let's say, in a contract, you're South, and you're in a contract of, say, 4 hearts. And it comes time to play this spade suit. I hope you're going to lead the spade from your hand, okay? If there's anybody who would go to the dummy and lead a spade, this is going to be a rough day for you, okay? So let's assume you lead a low spade out of your hand, okay? Okay, and the next player, unfortunately for you, plays low. If they had played the ace, it would be easy. But now when they play a low spade, you have a guess. And I often get asked, Larry, when I lead to the king-jack, should I play the jack or the king? Well, if I just asked for a vote, I really wouldn't want you to say the jack or the king. I'd want you to ask some questions, such as, well, did he open the bidding? Did he bid spades? I mean, sometimes there's a clue from the bidding as to who might have the ace. But let's say you have nothing to go by. You don't have any clues. I'm going to give you a very good reason to try to guess correctly. Does anyone know where I'm going with this? It has to do with your opponents. Okay? Most opponents, this West player here, when you lead a low spade, most players you play against, unless they're very experienced players, they're good players, they are not good enough to smoothly play a low spade when they have the ace of spades, okay? If West had the ace of spades, most players you play against, there's one of 2 things they'll do, okay? The most usual thing they do is grab their ace because they're afraid that they'll lose it. So most West players would have grabbed their ace. The second thing they might do, which is just about as bad, is think and think and think. Okay? Now they're entitled to think. If they have something to think about, they're entitled to think. Okay? But if they think and think and think, and then play low, well, what were they thinking about? Okay? They weren't going to play the queen, right? So you know, if they think and think and think and play low, you know they have the ace, so you're going to put up the king. Okay? And in case you're wondering, well, what if they think and think and think and they don't have the ace? Well, that's no good. You can't do that. Not in bridge. Okay? That's not part of bridge. That would be called coffee housing, and you're not allowed to do that. But you can think if you have a problem, and so if he thinks and plays low, you know he's got the ace. If he takes the ace, you know he's got the ace. But what if he plays low without a care in the world? Well, most opponents who do that, they don't have the ace because they would have grabbed it, or they would have at least thought about grabbing it. So when they play low quickly, I'm going to assume the ace is over here with East. I'm going to assume the ace is there. So I'm not going to play my king. That's not going to. I'll try the jack. I'll try the jack and hope that it loses to the ace. If he's got the ace queen, there's nothing I can do. So I would play the jack against most opponents. So now what does this have to do with defense? Okay. Well, I want to train you to be a very good West player who doesn't give away the show. Don't grab your ace and don't think about it. You want to learn to play low without thinking, because you've seen this before and you know it's bad to grab your ace. And it's very rare that you need to grab your ace. I know you're worried, what if it's a singleton? But we'll talk about that as we go through this next tip. So this tip has to do with grabbing aces.